think we just need a filter for our words. So I built this little filter. I call it the token filter. Let me show you why. TKN. This is what it stands for. Token. True, kind, necessary. I'm going to walk through these three in a second, but I'm going to ask you these three questions right now. Then I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Is what you're about to say true? Okay? All right. Maybe, maybe not. Give me more filter. Is what you're about to say kind? Good Lord. I've heard more people say, well, I just need to speak the truth in love. Okay? There's context to that. All right? Is it kind? And then here's the last one. This would probably eliminate about 80% of all conflict in the world. Is it necessary? Is it necessary for you to say that? Is it true? Is it kind? Or is it necessary? So let's talk about the first one. Is what I'm about to say true? All right, the prophet Zechariah was trying to give a little bit of instruction on this. And he says in chapter 8, verse 16, let me show you what Zechariah says here. These are the things you are to do. Speak the truth to each other, which is good, that's where we want to be, and render true and sound judgment in your courts. Now you hear the word sound, and that means something to you, but the Hebrew word that's being translated here in the NIV is shalom. This is shalom judgment. This is a wholeness and a fullness and a peacefulness to what you're doing. So this is not just truth. This is the relationship between truth and peace, or emet and shalom. And so the question that we have to be asking ourselves when it comes to us wanting to deliver the truth is, what am I about to say, is it bringing peace? Is it also bringing peace somehow into the relationship? And if the words that I'm about to say, which are those jeans look terrible on you, okay, is not going to build or bring shalom, then I just need to hit the pause button for a second. I just need to reconsider what I'm going to say. Because sometimes the truth actually does hurt. And so as we're learning to have relationships and intimacy, especially in our closest relationships, right? Our marriages, our families, sometimes that's the easiest place that we yank the shalom right out from under. We're so quick to be so careful with how the world feels, but we will walk right into our house and cause havoc and destruction by just bringing the truth. And I think in that instance, we need to think about, man, maybe there's a filter there. So is what I'm about to say true, but is it bringing peace? Let's talk about the second thing. Is what I'm about to say kind? Right? Kindness counts, okay? I'm glad kindness still counts, all right? Kindness does count. And Proverbs chapter 31 is all about kindness, all right? We're actually talking about a wife of noble character. Like, that's the entire chapter, all right? Chapter 31, all about a wife of noble character. And when we drop into verse 26, talking about this wife of noble character, watch what she does. She opens her mouth with wisdom. That's for all my teenagers in here, okay? She opens her mouth with wisdom. Let's start with wisdom. And the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. The teaching of kindness is on her tongue. This kindness, translated in the Old Testament, hesed. This is God's loving kindness. This is a word that is so rich in texture that we struggle to even try to define it with multiple words, okay? We define it as mercy. Let the teaching of mercy on your tongue, right? We define it as compassion, and the teaching of compassion is on her tongue. We define it as love. And it's most commonly expressed, at least today, through this idea of grace. Let grace be on your tongue. So what should we do? We should season our words with grace. We should just put a little more grace on the things that we say, not just to other people, but for somebody in this room, it's the things that you're saying to yourself. Those words that you say to yourself when you look in that mirror are not really true about you. But the grace that God wants to give you has yet to find its way into how you actually respond to just who you are on a daily basis. And so you are filling yourself with actually a distortion and a corruption of how God sees you. That's not how God sees you. God sees you in this beautiful, loving way. And so when we have the opportunity to interact with other people, we should bring that same grace to the table. Let everything that we do be seasoned with grace. That's just so good. Is what I'm about to say true, the first part of the token filter? Is what I'm about to say kind, K, the second part of the token filter? It's made it through. Now we get to the third part. This is the hardest part, okay? Is what I'm about to say necessary. All right, when I was preparing for this message, God really, really worked on me right here. And I recognized that a lot of times I say things that are completely unnecessary. I say them because I think they're funny. If they're really not that funny. They come with a little jab or a little bite. I'm being very vulnerable right now. And I don't mean to do that. But I started thinking about it, and God's like, is it really necessary? And I was like, well, Lord, I don't know. It's probably not necessary. So maybe that's a good filter for our life. How easy is it to try to wreck somebody on social media when all you have to do is type something from your phone and you don't ever have to interact with them? That's not necessary. It's not necessary to get into the mob mentality to add on to everything that's not necessary. There's just a lot of things in life that just may not be necessary. This is what James is trying to say. In chapter 1, verse 19, here's what he says. This is just good. Everyone should be quick to listen. I'm working. Slow to speak. There's a rhythm to truth. There's a rhythm to words. We should be slow to speak and slow to become angry. Maybe instead of just saying whatever you're thinking, maybe you want to practice this thing called self-control. Self-control is like the secret ingredient of a great relationship. You want to know the secret ingredient of a great relationship? Self-control. You want to know how great marriages stay great and get greater? Self-control, okay? That is powering a lot of what is happening in this world relationally between two human beings. When there's a great deal of self-control present in the relationship, in the conversation, beautiful things are going to happen.